everybody, and welcome back to LARPs and Tarps. Today, we're going to be talking about EYELarp's Flying Lead Nightmare.
Yee-haw!
Yee-haw! My name's Alex, and today I'm joined by the fantastic Chloe.
Amazing. Hello.
The Dractacular Morgan. Beautiful. And this is the skin of a killer Bella, Tom.
I wear everyone's skin. Maybe it'll be your skin next.
Is it because he's got a shiny head?
It was just the first thing that came to my head.
Shiny.
I ran out of terrible vampire puns. Speaking of vampires, we were cowboys.
Yes, indeed.
Sure.
Cowpoke.
Cowfolk in cowboys. Cowpokes in a strange genre twist where we were fighting
Vampires and other spooky creatures.
Well, because this is, those of you that listened last year know that we fought demons this last year. The idea is that it's the idea is every year it's like a kind of a treehouse of horror. I think they explain it like the Simpsons stuff, treehouse of horror, but their Flying Lead game. And yeah, we were all going to go into the Wild West to fight vampires.
Well, that's not why we went to
No,
the Wild West.
The premise was a big hunt, wasn't it?
A hunting competition, yeah.
With $1,000 on the line.
1,000. Think of what you can do with $1,000.
I could get $1,001 hookers. Or one $1,000 hooker.
Is that what you think about?
No, it's a Futurama reference.
Oh, I see. So, do we want to go around and introduce our characters, who we were? I think Tom was somewhat similar, but a little bit of a twist this time to last year.
I think we both did a little bit of a twist.
Yeah.
So I returned as Dr. Barnabas Belvedere, lovable snake oil salesman, or miracle tonic salesman, as he likes to believe. He's actually helping the people, though that is debatable with the results. He had come to town to sell his miracle tonics to give the people hunting these mythical and strange beasties an edge in the competition, and hopefully going to make a quick buck on the way. Along with him is his recent assistant, Preacher Ollie, who is helping me with my surgeries and flogging my wares, as well as getting me some holy water to make them. And what was Father McPherson doing mosey on back into town?
Yeah, so I played Adam McPherson again. I don't think anyone knew his first name in the first game, but I was playing Father McPherson this game, but with a bit of a twist this time in that he had not always been a priest. So 5 years prior, he'd been in a gang known as the White Rose Gang, and he had a different name. His name was Johnny O'Hare, and he had been, living a life of a Wild West gang until one fateful night he killed a child.
We endorse.
It was not
Kicked
hoggers, as they say.
No, in a house raid went wrong. He killed a child and blamed the heist on one of his gang mates, his new girlfriend, who had recommended the heist, and he just kind of ran away to get his sins forgiven, became a priest, and was coming to win the hunting competition, put his old gunslinging skills to good use to win the prize money to pay for a new roof on the church. But as he came into town, there was a few ghosts of his past that were still there. Alex, go on, your turn.
So this is my first time at EYELarp. I didn't really know how it was going to work other than what I'd heard from you guys, but I hadn't really experienced it. But I learned that obviously you can play a certain archetype, whether that's a gunslinger, a preacher, a trapper, or a cowboy. And I thought it'd be cool to be a trapper, considering it's a hunting competition. Plus, I found this awesome suede, kind of a bit fluffy coat, which kept me warm all weekend.
I think your kit was some of my favourite. Like it looked really good.
Well, thank you. It was literally just slapped together. But I was lucky to find that on at a charity shop, and that pretty much made the outfit. But yeah, I was Cole Stoker, who I think I'll now just go by Stoker, because I get the impression there's a lot of Coles. There was a very prominent Cole there, but I think there were a lot of other Coles. There was a member of the crew at one point said, asked me my name to go into the room for a vision, which we'll get to. and said, "What's your name?" I said, "It's Cole." And she goes, "Oh, of course it is." I was like, "Oh, okay. There's probably a lot of Coles here." Or I just look like a Cole.
Or maybe she just knew you.
No, well, we were introducing ourselves to each other.
Oh,
There is
maybe.
the infamous Sergeant Cole.
Sergeant Cole.
Yeah. But I prefer Stoker anyway. There's points where you're shouting Stoker rather than Cole.
Mr. Stoker!
Yeah, I might just be Mr. Stoker with an elusive first name.
It was really fun to shout for Mr. Stoker.
Yeah.
I did enjoy doing that.
I think that's going to be me from now on. Because luckily, I didn't die, but you can always bring your characters back. But yeah, it was good fun. As I say, didn't know what to expect when we just kind of dove into it at our first time, didn't we? What about you, Chloe? How was your character?
Yeah, I played Lola. No last name because it's me.
It was going to be Winchester, and there was
Oh, yeah, it was.
lot of Winchesters. Wasn't
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
Winchester.
Oh yeah,
You did the homework, and then
I
you
did.
forgot you did the homework.
yeah. Well, it's the first time I've put any sort of pre-thoughts into my character apart from the van down there.
Yeah, not even the D&D.
Yeah, fucking hell. Her name was Lola. She was a showgirl. I saw you
Beat me
lean.
to it.
I saw you lean in to say it. I can't remember.
You can't remember Lola's backstory.
No, I can.
Come on.
I can. Yes,
I
she,
put loads of effort into it. Her name was Lola.
there we are.
Usually turn up, don't know my character's name.
I just turned up.
Do you need me to remind you of it?
No, I know. I remember. I just need to think. Yes, she was in town because she'd been tracking a personal bounty. That bounty was her father because a few years prior, her father, they weren't a very wealthy family, and her father had tried to marry her off to a gentleman to bring some money into the family, to bring some wealth in. She was not happy with that, so shot the man dead at the altar, and then had been chasing her father ever since to kill him. And she'd heard or caught wind that he might be in this town. Turns out he wasn't, but that's why she was in town.
We were also joined by Winifred Bloom. Unfortunately, Kerry can't be here tonight because she's not feeling too well. But Winifred Bloom was another member of the White Rose Gang, mainly travelling around telling fortunes and committing train robberies?
Train robberies.
Train robberies with her.
Think about, I'm here to do a train robbery. Put your wallet in the bag and stick him up.
Pretty much that, really.
I think my favourite thing we were talking about, I don't know if Kerry stuck with this in the end, but we were going to say that Kerry's character didn't realise they were doing train robberies. So I think I've just killed Chloe. I think Kerry was going to say her character didn't realise they were doing train robberies. At first she thought it was a stage play and then was like, wow, these people are really good actors. This is great. Yeah, we'll take all your money. Oh, they paid really well.
It's because she really wanted to join the circus, so she thought it was all a
Yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
That
because
was
she
quite
joined
funny.
with... so she was somewhat affiliated with the White Rose Gang just before I left. And then she was because she joined with Alicia, who was 16 when I left the gang. And then there was also Isaac and Jesse, who were in the gang, who were his childhood best friends that they started the gang with. Oh, Bella, there was Penny as well. So she was basically Isaac's new partner. So that was like the structure of the gang, and I had left, and I think Kerry started time in with them. And then us four started time in the saloon. Didn't
We did.
Yeah, that was a great time in. I really enjoyed that.
So this was your guys' first time at the EYELarp site.
Yeah.
What did you think?
So cool. Like, I'd obviously seen pictures and things, but I didn't think there were as many buildings as there were. I thought it was kind of like 6 buildings maybe at most.
And it feels real, doesn't it?
Oh, 100%.
Like it doesn't
Yeah.
feel like false fronts and then whatever. And like it feels like you're an actual.
But it's because they're actual buildings. It's not just a wooden wall and you step through it and pretend you're in a saloon.
Yeah.
You're actually in the saloon. It's fantastic.
I was thinking of it being like the Forge at Empire, but maybe just like 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, for it to actually be a little town and even like different streets, there was a couple of different streets you could walk down.
Yeah.
The saloon was awesome. And as I say, enjoyed starting time in there.
Yeah, so the four of us around the table was really cool. Wasn't it?
Yeah. But yeah, I was just kind of taken back by.
But not even just that main bit. That there was so many different other bits. You know, when we went. Well, obviously we'll get to this, but that little cabin in the swamp that we ended up going to. There's just so many different bits around that it was so fantastic.
And you are
Really good
really
site.
in the middle of nowhere. I thought it would be less like in the middle of nowhere because it's smaller, there's less people, with it being EYELarp, but it was more in the middle of nowhere than Empire.
You drive through a quarry
Yeah.
and then through a woods, so you can't hear traffic. And I think there's very few places in the world, in the UK at least, that you can say that. Where you like most places in the countryside, even then you can still hear that hum of like the motorway. Empire, you can sometimes hear the race cars going around the tracks.
Yeah.
But yeah, you literally can't hear anything. You're fully in the woods. You could be.
It was unreal.
Yeah, it does help the immersion.
The only thing you get is planes or helicopters.
With
coming
the
over
amount of trees,
occasionally.
though, you didn't even. I don't think I saw a single plane
Not
the
that
whole
I
weekend.
noticed.
I think I heard one helicopter, and that was in the morning before time in, so yeah, it never took me out of it like it can do at Empire.
Johnny and Kitty, professionals arranging those flight paths over Everton. for your immersion.
So yeah, coming over to time in, and obviously the time of year it is, sunsets at 4:30. So
We
it
made
was-
good time.
Yeah, we did make really good time. It was dark at time in.
Yeah.
Like it was fully nighttime. I'd rented my rifle and bought my handgun. We'd been test firing beforehand. Just be like, hey guys, I think I loved the conversation of like, just these things are really loud. And then I'm sure they are. And then you fire them, you're like,
Wow.
wow,
Yeah.
wow, okay, yeah, these are loud.
I had so much fun firing a gun.
Oh, it's so much fun, isn't it? It's great. I say this before. It's like I never got it. I was like, I don't know why you ever be interested in the fire one blank firing pistol. I went,
I want more.
oh, yeah.
It's your racing pistol that's really impressive. The little shooter that could.
Tiny little Derringer. It's the loudest thing.
It was the loudest thing I heard that weekend.
It's ridiculous.
The fact that you got the long shots to them as well.
Yeah, I was laughing as well. So it's got these bullets in them. They're quite slim things. When I bought it, they said, "Do you want shorts or longs?" And I bought the longs. And then someone said, "Oh, I've got a few bullets if anyone wants them." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll take them." And they opened them, and they're like a fifth of the size of the ones I use. I'm like,
Jeez.
"Oh, that's why mine's so
So
bloody loud."
I've still got a bag of bullets just sat on my table at home.
The
9mm.
9mm, yeah.
It's satisfying as well how much they look like bullets. Well, from me, who's got no experience with guns, but emptying the revolver and putting them in, and yeah,
I think they are. I might be very wrong, but I think blanks are actual bullets, but without the metal bit at the end that comes out.
Yeah.
Do you know how it's like crinkled in?
Yeah.
I think there would usually be like a bullet sat in there, wouldn't there? And then
yeah, that makes sense.
tells it
Yeah,
forward. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, shout out to what's he called? Neil. What's his business called? Oh my god, terrible. We'll say it on the next episode, but that's where he got our guns from. Really great service. And then he had a thing where if he's got enough of them in, if you do a rental and you pay like a deposit on the rental, if you want to keep the gun, he just keeps the deposit, which I think is a really good idea.
I was so tempted to do so.
Yeah.
I really would. Like, you both saw my face. I was
Yeah, I saw your eyes go to Alex, and you're like, "Are you going to do it?" And Alex was like, "No, I'm not." And you're like, "Okay."
okay, all right, I won't. I mean, not that I need you to make my decisions, but
No, but you.
But I didn't.
Someone
it was
else
like,
doing it justifies it for you.
Yeah,
get
I needed.
Yeah.
I needed that little push. Like, yeah, okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Maybe
But-
next year.
Yeah, it was a great gun as well, and I liked it. I really liked the gun,
Yeah.
but it was quite. It was heavier than I was expecting.
They're weighty.
But obviously,
aren't
because it's just
just
like a
a
real
gun.
gun. Yeah,
It
I
was
just
like some of
wasn't
them are
expecting
made
it.
in the same factory as live guns, but they just don't
Yeah.
put certain bits in, or they put blockage. I don't know. I know nothing about guns. I just know it's fun. But yeah, so Friday night time in, we were all sat round at the table, and because it was like timing-ish, because things were running a bit behind schedule.
Yeah.
But it was just really nice for us four to just kind of swing into character and start chatting.
It really gets you into the world, just like little breach into what you're going to be doing over the weekend, get a feeling for your characters, gingerly touch on stories and dig deep, really. Like, you guys were dead against the progression of the railroad where I was dead for it.
We were. I don't know why.
A real good conversation. Right? It was really funny. And we had a little thing, didn't we, that I was meant to be the priest that was officiating your wedding.
Yes, we were.
So there's a couple of things kicking off. A new church was being opened. There were getting celebrations about. There was a museum with curios, which was cool.
That was cool.
I never got round to going to the museum. I
It was
really
cool.
should go sometime.
Ruth, who played the museum curator,
Oh, they're fantastic.
I went up to them at the end of the weekend, and I was like, for someone whose first EYELarp it was, very overwhelming with the amount of plot and everything. You have helped so much. Like, thank you so much, because over the course of the weekend, when bits were happening, they were like prompting, going, "Oh, so maybe that ties in with that," and oh, maybe that's linked to that. Do you not think? And was really
And I think they do
helped
it.
me.
Ruth did a really good job. I just mean in general, EYELarp do a really good job of doing it in a way that you don't realize they're doing it.
Yeah.
You don't think they're pushing us along. It just feels like you're interacting with the world. And then later, like, oh, they were doing this, and
with it being our first time, we didn't know who was crew and who wasn't.
yeah, exactly.
So plot would be given to us. One instance was the mist, which we'll come to, and I didn't know that was plot. I thought it was maybe someone speaking about their character or their character development. So it didn't feel, for me at least, with it being the first time, that there was a divide between players and crew. It just kind of flowed quite naturally.
It is good that.
They also get their R&R characters though as well, so they can be just playing their own little thing in the background.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. On the Friday night, I don't know where you had gone, Alex, or what everyone else was doing, but I was sat in the tavern, I was sat in the saloon by myself for whatever reason, and some guy just came up and was like, "Can I take a seat?" And I was like, "Yeah, please do." And we sat there, chatted a bit in the saloon, and I then on the Saturday found out that they were crew, because we found their dead body. But they were saying, that we were talking about the mayor, and they were planting the seed about the mayor possibly and potentially being a vampire. And I was like, and it was just like little things like that. It obviously didn't turn out the mayor wasn't a vampire in the end. It turns out whatever.
Big red
There were
herring.
so many red herrings on the Friday night that you're like, that was like, I wonder if that'll be anything. And then it was just like, no.
Yeah.
There was that drunk Irish guy stumbling
Was that Killian?
around who was covered in blood.
He was a player last year, but he was crew this time.
Yeah.
So that really threw me. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
It's just Killian again.
And then you're like, oh, wait, what?
Because he was obviously trying to create a bit of plot on the Friday where it's obviously soft plot. I don't know if did that come to anything in
A
the
couple.
Was he a red herring
Yeah.
that whole time? 'Cause
Yeah.
his
He's a
performance
phenomenal role
was
play.
amazing. There was a point where he came to the bar covered in blood and slurring and unstable on his feet and with this great Irish accent and said, "Can I have a drink?" And I went behind the bar. And I said, "Yeah, what would you like?" He was like, whatever." And I said, "You can have some of my whiskey if you want." And at that point, that was a little bit OC. And he just came out and he was like, "Oh, no, thanks, I don't drink." And he was just this completely
Yeah, he's
sober,
teetotal.
level-headed, not Irish, not drunk, just a great actor.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a shock.
Did you pull one of his seance cards?
No, what were they?
Wait till next time. If he offers you a
Okay.
playing card, pull a playing card. Did you pull a playing card from the Drunken Irishman?
No.
Oh, they're very good.
Yeah.
But there
very
were,
good.
I did see playing cards just laying around the buildings and stuff.
Oh, you'd
at different
recognise.
points.
You'd know
Yeah.
his
Oh,
cards.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a point where like I saw a playing card just on the floor, and I was like, "Is that there for a reason?" And I just left it. I, didn't,
You get plot paranoid.
No, it's not.
Is that plot?
They're just very good.
I was
playing
like, am I
cards.
going to get cursed if I pick this up? Or
Yeah.
Just, I would say if you're EYELarp and the Drunk Irishman, Flying Lad and Drunk Irishman offers you to look at his playing cards, just have a little peek. You might enjoy them.
Okay.
But yeah,
snotty.
maybe.
Nah.
But no, I wanted to shout out as well, just quickly, Ruth was the one that provided the audio recording for Rose that we used last year.
Oh, that song.
Yeah, so they
Yeah.
were the one that they did the recording because they were one of the demons last year, and they gave us the recording to put in.
Oh, thank you, Ruth.
But yeah,
So what did we all kind of get up to once we dispersed from our pleasant little conversation about the railroad and the competition?
Well, we were broken up by, I believe, and I might be wrong, the mayor giving his speech about the hunt. He gathered the town outside, so we'd finished our... that was a weird conversation at time in, because I just had to improv, because I hadn't done any character development, the questions you were asking me, and I ended up with some weird history about...
I think that's the fun part about soft timing, though. Like, me and Morgan did it in our first Flying Lead, where it's like, we'll just have a bit of discussion, like, what would you talk about in the Wild
let me
West?
tell you, I got a lot of mileage out of your beaver story.
Yeah, well, I don't know what... I was forced to make things up, and I ended up with a beaver's tail up my ass.
Good, I love where your brain
You
goes.
cut female beaver tails off for the pheromones to attract
But you
animals.
put them in your butt so they would look like a beaver tail, I'm guessing.
Because I asked Dave at one point, like, "Do you hunt beavers?" And he kind of looked at me like, "What?" I was like, "No, it's not all hunters then." But he was very confused because he was like, "What?" Obviously, because he had been privy to the conversation.
That's so funny.
If there's any beaver hunters listening, feel free to take that little tip. Hope it helps.
So Father McPherson had come to a town which for some reason had a lot of his ghosts in it. So
Spooky.
he comes out the tavern and he sees who's the first person he sees?
Was it? Did I introduce you to them again?
You went to introduce me to the White Rose guy.
Because I was one part of my backstory is I wasn't a full-fledged member, but I was a contact of the White Rose gang, so I would patch them up after jobs or give them info or sell them potions. So I think I joined a couple of years after you left.
You went to go introduce me to him, and I went, I'm really sorry, I've got to go, and just turned around and left. And then I went into the museum to look at stuff that was in there, and I think I was with Preacher Ollie. I think. And we were looking, and then I see in there another person from my past who was now going by the name of Ruby, and I was like, oh no, left the museum, and every night just kept turning around corners, avoiding eye contact at all points. What's her face? Alicia saw me, kind of gave me a look. Character gave me a look, and I went into the church to get away from them. And I go, and I see at the back of at the side door one of the gang members. I'm like, nope. Go back out the other way, see another gang member. Like, bloody hell. Still thinking they haven't seen me. Go out the back of the church, and then they both just corner me. And it's literally both like, what are you doing here, Johnny? And it was like a really cool moment. It was, again, and I've said this before, EYELarp's so good for like really good cinematic moments like that. And it felt like, again, it feels like you're in a film. You're like, no, trying to get away, and they get cornered. And then we have this like intense scene of like, what the hell are you doing here? Where have you been? Why did you run away? So I get cornered by some former gang members, and again, we have an altercation there, which was really fun. Ended up with just me being like, leave me alone. I want out. I want to leave this all alone. And ran off. And it was just really fun to have that little bit of a backstory, because it was more than I had last time. Last time I was very much like you guys.
We went in raw.
Last time it was very much, I was like, I'm Father McPherson, I'm a priest. That's it. That's my life. That's my story. Whereas this was like, it was fun to have a little bit of bounce off, to be kind of like, I had, as well as what was going on with the main plot, I had my own shit going on. Mm-hmm. And that was really fun. A couple more instances of that occurred. I think one bit, we were all sat drinking together at one point during the night.
Yes.
And I was maybe a little bit tipsy because I've been drinking whiskey, but I wasn't that drunk, but I started to play up that I was a bit drunk. Mm-hmm. And then Penny, who is the person that Johnny blamed for the gang breaking up, walks past, and I just lunge up and just grab her.
Oh, yeah.
And just pull her in. And I'm like, what are you doing around here? Causing trouble. I know you. I know what you're like. And I'd said, when you and Johnny have a big beard, long scraggly hair, you won't recognize him anymore. And she was like, who the hell are you? What are you doing? And I was just like drunk. And then did you pull me off, didn't you?
Yeah.
You like dragged me and forced me down. I just sat there grumbling.
Father, leave her alone.
Just sat there grumbling with my whiskey. But that was like a really fun, like, again, bit of character into that. I really enjoyed that.
It's because I checked in with you. Like I leant across the table and I was like, hey, OC, are you okay? And you were like, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I was like, okay, good. Just double checking. Because like, you're playing up the whole drunk thing, but you were like really miserable and moody. And I thought something had happened. I was like, I don't want to break your immersion. I'm sorry, but you were right.
Yeah, I remember that because you were like, I'm having a fucking great time.
That immersion
It is never immersion breaking to do a check-in. Absolutely fine. Like,
yeah.
Thank you very much for doing it. I think I had limited interactions. I had a few interactions with Ruby, which was not her name. I knew it wasn't her name, but she was we had a few kind of like catching each other's eyes and being like, avoid them, because we're both like, we both knew we were someone different now, and we're like, just don't talk to them. And a few fun interactions with them, but yeah, it was really, really good. That was my kind of Friday night. I think I don't think I've got much more beyond that. Or at least I can't remember because it's been so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can't remember much what happened on Friday night. Again, it was soft plot things going around, but it was mostly just like any LARP. Lovely to see everyone again, have a good drink, and
of course, all our friends, Blackjack, and
oh yeah, we had friends there as well. Sorry, Oily and Daisy. Completely forgot.
They're not.
I just forgot you were there.
Well, a massive part of the weekend, really. Not that memorable.
No. But yeah, that was about it for Friday.
Yeah, we waited in line terribly long for some pictures, which I'm super excited to see because they looked awesome.
I can't wait for that to come out.
That was a very big group of people. I'm so surprised that the photographer managed to get us all in.
The man
I'm very
knows his
impressed.
craft.
Yeah, I'm very impressed that all of it. What was there, like 12 of us?
Yeah.
Just bundled into this
Just
little room.
piled in.
Yeah.
It's like a clown car.
It really was.
Was there a fist fight? There wasn't a fist
No
fight.
fist fights.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. Oh,
People-
I think there were fist fights on the Saturday.
Oh.
Ah.
Yeah.
I went
I
around.
feel like I did see. There was arguments
Oh, there's always arguments.
Yeah, there was arguments on the Friday because I remember trying to get in the middle of one of them. Like,
There was a point where I
Let me join.
I want to fight.
I was walking back into town from the loo and walking through the town, just looking at everything. I had a chance to kind of step back and just, without not being part of it, just witness it and seeing the arguments and the tussling and people walking out of the saloon and the way that I don't know what room, the museum, the way the museum was kind of all lit up. And I like the fact that the big light they used to light the whole town isn't a yellow light, it's a white light, so you can just imagine that it's the moon, that it's moonlight. And yeah, just a really beautiful sight at EYELarp.
Yeah, the fireplaces around the place do a lot of good as well. You can just go up to a fire, have a conversation with people, adds a bit of extra lighting as well.
Those 3 guys around that fire.
They don't move very often.
They were sat there all weekend.
Some people just go to have a chill and dress like a cowboy, and props to them.
Yeah, not judging them. I just didn't know, like, is this plot? Should I speak to them? Or
I mean, definitely. We had some chats with them. I know one of the guys was crewing as well because I saw him knocking around.
Oh, okay.
We had a chat by their fire, didn't we, as well? Because we had like a chat about the nature of God.
Oh yeah, we did.
Which was cool by the fire. It was all those like I love about just LARP in general, like the little interactions.
Yeah.
But also, like you say, like seeing this scene. I was saying this. It was on the Saturday, but I was coming back from. It was like just before time in or around lunchtime. I was coming back to our camp, and we had our 2 tents kind of facing each other, and everyone was sat in a circle in their kit, sat around.
I remember. Yeah.
And I just came like with this big grin on my face because just looking, it was like this looks like again like a scene from a film. Like a bunch of guys sat around with a fire, having their food, dressed as cowboys. Like,
Yeah.
it's so cool.
It is so much fun.
I love this hobby.
Best hobby. Worst financial decision I've ever made.
Nah,
Great hobby.
my kit for this was cheap.
Yeah.
Well, I
same,
did
to be
own
fair.
everything before.
Yeah,
that.
Empire was the worst financial decision I've ever made. This is fine.
Yeah. And it's a lot more role play heavy, as you're
Oh,
saying. than
I love my
Empire.
role play.
I've realised that I never really role play, other than just saying that my name's a different name at Empire. Whereas here, I mean, you don't even have to try.
No.
I'd say there's not a choice, but if there was a choice, you'd choose it. And it's just you're just thrown into so much game that after a while, the accent doesn't seem like a task; it just flows naturally. And yeah, you don't get a second.
I tell you what, I bet you, because this happened to me. I don't know if this happened to you as well. I role played a lot more after EYELarp.
Yes, definitely.
Once I got to Empire, I role played a hell of a lot more.
Yeah,
Just because I think again that kind of that environment where like you have to, right? But not in the way that it feels like you're forced to, but it's just like, well, the game's happening, everyone's role playing. All there is role play.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like Empire where you've got your mechanics and your big battle and these things to think about. It's like, but all we've got to do here is role play.
yeah.
And then you do it, and it feels really natural. And I found when I went back to Empire, that kind of muscle had really warmed up, and I was like, my role play was a lot more
Fluid.
natural and fluid. Yeah, I didn't have to think about it as much.
Yeah.
Do we
Yeah.
consider EYELarp like a gym for roleplay then?
Role play gym.
Work out.
Get my role
Johnny
play.
and
Like a gym.
Kitties.
There's no time to rest. I think there was one point where I ate too much chili and I needed a nap because I'm nearly 30. And after about 10 minutes, you can hear things firing off in town and you get FOMO and you're straight back into it.
You guys at one point on the Saturday, oh, we're just gonna. Where is everyone going? We just go to the toilet. I was like, don't go to the toilet.
Yeah,
You can't.
yeah.
Hold it. You're gonna want to.
The only time you go to the toilet is the second you get back from an excursion.
Yeah. So how about your Friday, Tom?
Oh, I was on the grind, peddling some of my wares, trying to get some of my miracle elixirs out. So I didn't sell nearly as many this time as I did last time. And no one seemed to want to part with the cash, and apparently my roleplay was more suspicious than last time, which in a way I think is quite good. I think this Belvedere came off a lot sleazier
It
than
did.
the last Belvedere.
You did.
Question: did the tonics actually work, or were they bullshit?
You thought they did.
I thought they did, but I liked that the people who took the tonics gave the roleplay they wanted to do and had the effect they wanted to do. I thought, because it's a one-shot, it's a lot more fun to see what happens with it when they come with their imagination.
Yeah.
So one of the ones I sold to Wyatt, husband,
Or Phyllis?
very lucky husband of Phyllis, the
Yeah.
town cougar.
What a woman.
What a
What a woman.
I love Millie.
Oh,
Both
what
of them fantastic role plays. So the concoction I said to Wyatt was a performance enhancing tonic.
No.
That in turn left them hard for at least 24 hours.
24 hours.
So into the Saturday, I'll let you know how that goes.
Oh my god.
I tried to sell them the potion, but it turns out Phyllis held me up for the potion and threatened to shoot me.
Honestly, Phyllis was so funny. There was just
Phyllis
a point.
paid me in a rag.
There was just a point where Phyllis was like flipping around a gun. We were like, Phyllis, put down
This
the gun.
bag of snacks.
Honestly,
Pocket sausage.
pocket sausage.
We should put that on a shirt.
But
Pocket
it's,
sausage.
it's when she asked me to make eye contact, I did. She was like, no, I'm not comfortable with this. I was like, you asked for this.
She made her bed because everyone insisted
I
on
noticed
eating the pocket sausage with eye contact.
that was a bit of a theme. If someone ever offered you something, they wanted eye
I
contact
blame
while
Phyllis.
I don't
Is
know.
it Phyllis that
Wyatt
started
made me
that?
do it.
Wyatt
Wyatt
with the
made me
straw.
do it with the straw.
It's because they're married. I think it was just those.
Oh, okay. It's not an EYELarp.
Could be.
Johnny and Kitty in the rules must make eye
Must
contact.
like, whether we hoist the colours, I'll be like, oh, do you want some rum? Oh yeah, please. I can't. All times.
I sold another one promising that it would clear out a man of his black lung, saying we'll just harvest the tar afterwards. It'd be great. He paid me $5 for that one.
Was that the dude that kept coughing all weekend?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't that dude.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Different dude.
He came to our table whilst we were chatting, didn't he? Because he was asking, because he was just
Yeah.
because he came over with the railroad, and we were like,
Yeah, because I didn't know it
Scam.
wasn't. Yeah, I didn't know it was an icy cough. So there was a point where I literally pulled Alex back and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, don't get sick.
Oh, Harry Knight
I was
is
going to
such
say,
a
I
good role
know him
player.
as well.
I was like, don't you dare get sick. I was like, I'm not going back to work on Monday with the fucking cold.
There was one point that someone keeled over in the tavern
And
as well.
died, yeah.
And died.
Yeah.
Ollie was on top of that, no problem, trying to heal the person. I noticed $20 had kind of untucked from the pocket, so I just took that and like, I'll
Oh
leave
my
you to it,
God.
Oliver.
I
You've
saw
got this in
you
hand.
palming that body. Is that what you were up to? Nicking the money.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I missed the cocaine though.
We kept telling you off, didn't we? Because me and Blackjack were getting annoyed at Belvedere because Belvedere kept calling himself like an ordained priest.
I was an ordained priest. in my
we were just like,
backstory.
stop using our religion to sell tonics, not on.
Well, it's because Charlatan was removed from the game,
Yeah.
understandably, because it wouldn't really fit in.
No, it was just very funny that me and Blackjack were just like, stop saying you're a priest.
I did think it worked in the end. I was like wondering,
It did.
it's a bit of a
It did
rickety
work.
concept, but it did work.
It did work.
And just seeing you guys gradually get more and more pissed off as the weekend.
Very funny.
Yeah.
There was one part on the Saturday morning, it was like, oh, my button fell off my pants, told Morgan and Ollie. It was basically they shut the blind on me in the conversation. It's like, anyway.
I can imagine it. Like, I know it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful. But there was some fantastic NPCs there as well. And players. Like seeing Dave not as Hennessy Jones, but the wannabe cowboy Count Dooku.
Was Dave
I really love Cowboy Bar.
Was Dave Crew?
No?
No.
Sorry, I
Oh.
said NPC by mistake, but
Yeah.
NPCs were
Oh.
all fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Christ.
But
confused me there.
Yee-haw?
Yeehaw, I really love Cowboy Bar.
Like I've seen him play
It's
Hennessy
just like
Jones.
the books.
But Count Dooku was an absolute pleasure.
Was that his name? Count Dooku?
Count
Yeah.
Vladimir Duke.
Oh my god. Because everyone referred to him as the Count.
Count.
You know it was Count fucking Dooku.
I am a real cowboy now.
Jesus.
I love Dave.
From
He's so funny.
Transylvania.
Which is the Austro-Hungarian Empire in this era.
I love Dave. He's so funny.
Oh god, that was so funny.
There was a point where we had like a little I mean, it must have been, well, it was an OC chat. He just turned around and he was like, I love your boots. I was like, thanks, but they are very little, if not at all, waterproof. He was like, oh, that's shit. I was like, yeah. From a charity shop, though. They'd be like, all right. I was like, yeah, fair. The best conversation I had all weekend.
I love the fact you started that preamble with, might have been OC. I'm pretty sure. Oh, that's pretty good. Count Vladimir Dooku from Transylvania. Oh, charity shop, boy. Good on you.
It was also great to see my Reaper friends as well, Joe and Elle, not have to be like in business mode. Oh, fucking Ambrose.
Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, I do.
I told
Such
it.
a
It
good
was so
story.
funny.
The fact he held that accent for the whole fucking
It was just,
weekend.
it was every single
Ridiculous.
time. It was a sniff and the mustache twitch every time it spoke.
Just go.
Mm-hmm.
We were stood at the fort one time when he was talking to me, and I literally had no idea what he said. So I looked at him, nodded my head, went, "Good chat," and just walked away.
Yeah.
I had no idea
Just
what
went,
he's. Yeah,
I
went,
had to think
"Good
back.
chat."
Has he got a speech impediment? Because I didn't want to be rude. And I actually thought, like, before I go in and ask why he's speaking like this, I had to think back in my head to the conversations I'd had.
Does he have a speech about it? No, he's just doing a very Cornish accent.
Yeah. And then when I clocked that he was fine with me asking if his tongue had been cut off, I was like, okay, this is role play.
I thought that was a pretty fair
The
reasoning.
solution is just to go, I agree, Ambrose.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
Sure.
and they'll go,
when he was fixing your weapon and you were like, "Oh, that's what you do. Oh, that's what you're saying. All right, yeah, go on, thanks." Just like, go.
Apparently, Oily was talking to him at one point, and he just pulled a cucumber out of his coat, took a bite out of it, and put it back.
He did that to Kerry as well.
But
And he
Oily,
was just sat there thinking, "Why can I smell cucumber?"
Jesus Christ.
Everyone held their accents really well this weekend as well.
Yeah, they
Bungle, Elle, Ambrose, you guys.
Oh, yeah, Bungo's accent was really good.
yeah, his Irish accent was fantastic.
I struggled with mine a bit because I keep going from British and I'm like, I want to be American. No, back to British.
I'm surprised at how well I held my accent for.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I said in the van, I was like, I'm not going to be able
It's
to do
easier
it.
than you think, isn't it? It's what I said this exactly the same thing at Hobbit. I'm not saying I did a good Somerset accent at all, but when everyone's doing it, you just start to do it, and it feels weird not doing it. It's the same thing with American accent. You just start doing it.
I got really thrown for like a good 2 hours and I couldn't figure out to do the American accent because I'd listened to the French people speak.
French priests.
And all that wanted to come out of my mouth was French.
That's
Yeah.
at Hoist the Colours. There's a load of French people, and it's every single time they speak. I just start to go French. I'm like,
No,
no.
A little bit of quiche.
Un petit quiche.
I was thrown into my accent. So I think it was shortly after our conversation by the fire, this guy came up to me who I thought was a player, but it turned out later that they were actually crew, an insurance salesman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was Matt.
Yeah.
He's one of my jackdaws.
Oh yeah. We found out afterwards. Yeah, on the Sunday, but he was trying to sell me insurance. So I bought something where I spent my first money, and it was just weird that the first conversation I had in the American accent was about insurance, and it was really testing to use all these terms.
Yeah.
And later, when you were selling your snake oil, so I hired him for $1, and as my insurance, he would back up any claim I made, because
Right.
my character was quite, boastful and saying he was the best trapper and all this, and that he's killed hundreds
You
of
hired,
bears.
you hired him as a hype man.
Essentially, yeah. And insurance against, I know this isn't how insurance works, but anything that was said like against my name, he'd back it up. And then I went into the tavern and you were sat there with him and you were like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And he'd remembered. So for the cost of this $1, we got some great role play out of it because he was like, "Oh, this is Cole the Hunter. Have you heard about his exploits?" And it was great.
Yeah, I paid him to advertise my wares. Whether he did or not, I have no idea, but I paid him $5 for
I think he was dead the next day, to be fair.
Yeah, because I found him in a bush and I was like, oh, you're the insurance guy. He was like, "I think you've got my face mistaken." And then I was like, "Oh, right, they're recycling NPCs."
Yeah, there are only so many crew.
Yeah. I was
Also,
like, cool.
I didn't know about the 2 fingers up, holding your hand up.
The
You're
spooky
invisible.
ghosts.
And
the
nobody...
wind.
Gust of
They said
wind.
it at the safety briefing.
Did they say at the safety briefing? Oh, he's zoned out at the safety briefing. So I
Don't
went
zone
up...
out at the safety briefing.
Yeah, don't
Really
zone out.
important.
I went up to a member of crew accidentally. I was like, are you okay? And he went, "I'm invisible." I was like, "Oh, that's what that means." Yeah.
I would have loved it if you were go into it. So, ooh, you're invisible.
Ooh, a ghost.
People do often, because you'll hear people as they go past the 2 fingers being like, "Just move out the way of the wind.
yeah.
Wind's coming past."
Yeah.
Every time they went past with Phyllis, she was like, "Should not have had those beans." It was so funny.
Gassy
I wish
pocket
some
sausages.
walkers came down the road that weekend. I didn't see any. It would have been
don't.
great to see them firing guns.
That road full of very many potholes.
I thought was that everyone's Friday though? I think like nice social times.
No,
Meeting
Alicia
everyone.
and Isaac made a lot selling cocaine. A sniffer thing. I think it wasn't illegal back
I was really
then.
I was saying,
Yeah.
like Ollie was being like, "Hey, you got the cocaine?" And I was like, "Of course I have. It's the best medicinal thing. It gets you. What is it? What is it? Oh yeah, cocaine's great because it stops you being addicted to
Morphine.
no, was it morphine?
Opium.
Opium. So yeah, you should
Yeah.
have more cocaine because they were like, it's not illicit. Cocaine's medicine. Enjoy. It's in cola still.
Yeah.
It was very funny.
Can you imagine having cocaine cola these days?
I've seen some of the old
cocaine coal.
bottles from the time, like the 1880s.
With cola.
It was not snake oil because it actually worked, I guess, but as pain relief. And it would have heroin, cocaine,
Yeah.
Jeez.
other opioids in it. Just
Shit that made you feel good.
Those,
oh yeah, it make you feel better.
those Victorians were nuts.
Like the cough syrups.
That still happens today.
No.
People make cocktails with cough syrup because it's
Do they?
got painkillers in. Yeah.
Wasn't that
In
like
the
a flaming
States.
Homer? Should you get my Simpsons reference?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
because you can get like massive jars of cough syrup, which like can mess you up, and they mix it with alcohol.
I could barely stomach Cavonia.
Just for the sake of our liability, we don't approve the use of any of these illicit substances, and we don't approve of the mixture of cough syrup and alcohol.
But we do approve on kicking kids.
Kicking kids, a-okay.
That's a Chloe thing.
Yeah, so I think that pretty much rounds up Friday. I think we had quite an early night, didn't we?
I think I went to bed about 3:30.
It's just because Circuit was screaming my vowels in the bar.
My vow.
But that's all I remember, just getting hammered. I drank a
Yeah.
bottle of whiskey this weekend,
I remember.
and I was not drunk.
That whiskey tasted like petrol.
It's really good whiskey.
I really liked my Aldi whiskey. That was good, smooth
I
stuff.
heard Aldi does good whiskey.
That was nice, yeah. I had the monkey shoulder behind the bar.
Monkey Shoulder's quite
that was
nice.
quite nice. We're not sponsored by Monkey Shoulder. It's just
I
a nice
love-
whiskey.
And this makes me sound like a right booze hound, but get into my immersion with my 9 a.m. swigging from the bottle whiskey. Get into character.
You were doing that on the Sunday.
Yeah.
You're not even in character. We're trying to pack down. And you're,
Just get into the van.
we're trying to pack down the tent and pack up the van, and you're just stood there with a fucking bottle of whiskey. And we're like, Tom.
Gotta get into character.
Don't get into
Playing
character.
Tom today.
Don't get into character. Get into the van. Jesus, you're okay. Jesus Christ. God, what a line. Don't get into character, get into the van. Fucking hell.
That's what he shouts to the kids.
You know it's funny, he's got to crack out the inhaler. You're right, dude.
Yeah.
Saturday. So,
Wake up. I
was out of bed.
I caterpillared in the tent for a bit.
You did.
And then it kind of probably kicked off when the mayor did an announcement, right? Of like,
Josh played a great mayor.
oh, what a
Yeah.
mayor.
So red heron. So
Yeah.
sleazy.
Yeah, very much say how much they wanted us to go get our prey and they like raw meat. And
Yeah.
I'd been asking him, like, what kind of things can we expect to find? He's like, well, if you found a two-headed deer, that would win. I was like, are there two-headed deer in these woods? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, well, that'd be pretty interesting.
A lot of hot-blooded competition.
It was just being very, very, I'm a vampire, lol. I was like, and I was just like, what's going on here?
So, yeah, we separate into 3 groups for the competition.
You ditched us.
I went with the White Rose Gang because they're my homies, but we joined up with the fantastic British Hunting Party.
oh my God, they were so funny.
Fucking love those guys. They
Oh.
play the Water Walkers in Hoist the Colours.
They're so funny. I just loved them.
Fucking, was it Max playing Maxwell? Just the
yeah.
butler who carried another member's of the team's equipment. I don't think they had their own weapons
They
at
were
all.
just so funny. I really enjoyed them all week. I love every lap I'm out with them. I really love them.
Yeah, they're great. I think they were the right level of the bit as
It
well.
was just very funny. So you went off with them. So what did you? So we all got given a map. So
No,
different.
we had to
locations.
buy a map for
Well,
$5.
You didn't
That's
have
it.
to
Sleazy
buy
mate.
Yeah, you could have just looked at the map.
We
but
did
You could.
because we had Circuit and Andrew.
Yeah. So you paid for exclusive rights was the idea, wasn't it?
Yeah,
to
we
keep it.
Yeah, we bought our map so that way none of the other groups could see the location on our map. So only us had it. Yeah.
Because these were particularly good hunting spots.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I've got my rifle ready. We're off to go find a big bear or something. So our route took us through the fort. This could be nonsense to anyone that's not been to EYELarp, but there's like through a fort, down a hill, up a hill.
Laugh in general is nonsense.
Oh yeah, I know. But like down this big hill through the woods, and you go up a little bit of a hill. So that's where we were going. Whereabouts were you going?
So we kind of struggled to find our spawning point because I don't know if they were running a bit behind or.
You ended up following our group for a little
We
bit.
followed your group for a bit, and then we went to the other side on the trail. Unfortunately, as we were going down, Alicia heard a noise in the trees, so shot at it. Unfortunately, 4 of the blanks went off at the same time and gave them a bit of an OC injury.
Yeah, literally 4 of their bullets chain fired. So 4 bullets
Jesus.
exploded at once.
Apparently, they went back to the camp with another member of the White Rose gang. Someone went up to them and said, "Bloody hell, that's good makeup." Because they're not, mate.
It wasn't makeup. They
It's
just
actually blood.
I'd seen that they had an injury, but I didn't know what had happened.
They shot a
But
squirrel. And the
What,
squirrel
they
shot
were
back.
actually bleeding?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was actually
their
blood.
gun chain fired, so 4 bullets went off at once, and it singed their face.
Oh my
Was
God.
it their own gun or one that they'd hired?
It was their gun, yeah.
Ah, so they couldn't even go and blame someone else.
Yeah, exactly.
Was the squirrel okay?
The
The squirrel shot back. So because someone went with them to take them back to town, we were already 2 members of our hunting party down. Very good. We were wandering around making squirrel noises and other types of noises
What's
to
the
try.
squirrel noise?
Caca, caca, tucky, tucky.
That was the wrong time for you to put a Haribo in your mouth there, Morgan.
We made the most.
Ookie, ookie.
We made the strangest sounds. There was the fact the British hunting party were really playing it up seriously as well. Like,
I managed to not meet these guys through the whole weekend, but I've heard so much about them.
I don't think I saw any. I think I saw them visually, but I don't think
They were
I.
very funny. They had a bow and arrow.
yep. Maxwell was carrying around the bow and the arrow.
I enjoyed it, but it was just very funny because they felt like real people.
Yeah. Like I say, they played the bit,
So fun.
comedy to seriousness ratio, absolutely perfectly. So did you find a creature on your hunt?
No.
Not quite. We came across. So we got a bit lost, went the wrong way. I mean, we're hunting
We found
through the
some
woods.
flowers.
Found some flowers on the ground, which we'll link to later. But
Ooh, that's something we forgot to mention. The little bits of sprinklings about the event on the Friday night. The what's it? The Coronation Killer?
oh, was that
Carnation
announced
Killer.
on Friday?
Carnation
Carnation.
Killer, yeah, it was on
Well,
Friday.
what was
okay.
it? The Concierge Killer, as I called it.
Killer.
There was actually 2 things I wanted to mention from that night, actually. It was, first of all, the Carnation Killer, so some people being murdered and being found with flowers. But also, I'd spoken to a Dutch couple who had just moved into the area, who were like experts on theology. And I had like a holy symbol that was like a sun, so I'd given them to look at. And then there was this weird like trapper with them. They had like big blonde curly hair and then a very severe look about their face, and they were like, I'd seen them as well, and they'd been chatting to the Dutch folks as well. I just wanted to put them because they come up later. But yeah, sorry, so we found the flowers which we seem to relate to.
The Carnation Killer. And there was a concierge laid next to the flowers, dead. So it could have either been the concierge killer or the Carnation
God,
Killer.
it's always those hotel receptionists that go first.
They get it in the neck.
It was high stakes, wasn't it?
It was. Oh my God.
Right. Well,
All right, that's enough vampire
Back at him.
puns. If you're still tuned in, we headed out to where we were finally meant to go.
well, we heard someone screaming.
We heard someone screaming. They probably thought, fuck it, I'll just scream so they get here.
We were just stood like a few paces from them, like absolute wallies.
And there was this scene laid before us of 3 dead people on the ground covered in large lacerations like they were done by some kind of like wolf or big creature, and one guy who was still alive, and he was the one screaming. He'd kind of lost his mind, was very confused, and then Father McPherson, you approached him first in order to get information on what's happened.
I was like showing that I was like putting all my weapons down. I went to go speak to him and was like, I'm not that mean you any harm, which was really good.
Myself and Blackjack were just stood a few paces behind, like we I mean, I think Blackjack had both hands up. I had one hand up, but I kept my other hand on my gun just in case. I was
Yeah, I put my gun behind my back as well, so not to threaten him. And then the guy that was still alive on the ground going crazy, pulled a gun and pointed it. It was at you, wasn't it, Father?
Yes.
And on that bombshell, we'll leave it there for this week. Thank you very much for listening to our Friday and into Saturday hunting adventures.
Sorry if none of this made any sense to you.
Don't apologise. It's what people have come to expect.
You just have to go to EYELarp. Yeah, just go to EYELarp. You'll figure out what we're
No,
talking
don't go
about.
to EYELarp. We go to EYELarp so
Yes.
people don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, it's crap. Don't bother.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Don't buy the tickets.
Don't buy tickets.
Buy tickets to Legio.
Yeah, everyone loves Legio. Go there.
I made a promise.
You did make a
Oh, you did make a promise.
And I feel like this promise should have been fulfilled a while ago from the date of this review. But someone made a 5-star review. Lobs and Tops. And I am legally obliged to read it out. So the review says, love those LARPs and tarps. This is from Carg Estrico Irigo. I pronounced that flawlessly. And it says, I love listening to the podcast while at the Imperial Artisans Guild. The Imperial Artisans Guild is open for all your magical item commissioning needs. Let our hundreds of artisans make that bespoke item you're looking for. Also open for new members, artisan advice, material trading, and much, much more. Pop in today at the Sign of the Anvil, usually located on the corner of the Brass Coast Camp and at the end of Traders Row.
I love the shilliness of that.
Very, very clever. I enjoy this.
I might put some like cheesy marketing
Yeah, do.
music behind that.
I'm more than happy to read out. Oh, we've got another one here, actually.
Ooh.
It's a bit of an older one, this one.
We're
Does
professionals,
it
aren't we?
say that Chloe is the star of LARPs and Tarps and all you guys should just forget about it and just...
Oh, that one, yeah, but that was left by the Larps and Tops account, so I just...
Oh, right,
yeah,
okay.
I-
That's where I went wrong.
We swiftly deleted that.
Cool.
It says, great window into the LARP community. Really enjoying this. Very interesting to listen to how it all works and some of the lore of it all. Can't wait to give it a go myself.
Oh,
there you
who
go.
put that comment?
I don't know, but I'm legally obliged to read out all reviews that
So
are
send
5
them in.
so send them in.
Send them in. Let us know. We'll
Look-
say anything you want us to that won't get us cancelled.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
But yes, thank you very much for listening, everyone. And yes, we'll...
Thank you, goodbye.
Bye. Bye. Love you. Love you, yep.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah,
Love you.
bye.
Yep. Love you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
The most derailed ending we've ever done.